This week we begin our guitar stories, and I caught up with a friend in Chicago who's got this beautiful OM-42. We're going to talk to him about that, so stick around. Hey, welcome to Charlie's Open Mic. My name is Charlie Mosbrook. On this week's show, I've got James Curley. He's based out of Chicago. He's a wonderful songwriter. He does these beautiful arrangements of songs. He's really a thoughtful guitarist, and he's got a really cool guitar collection. And the crown of his collection is his OM-42. So I wanted to talk to him about that. James, let me introduce you a little bit to him. He is a singer-songwriter based in Chicago. He's originally from Philly. He performs with his wife Ilse, and he's just an all-around good guy. So let's go meet him and meet his guitar. Hey, welcome to the show, James.
Hey, Charlie, good to see you, man.
Good to see you. I'm looking forward to getting back on the road sometime and coming and visiting you guys in Chicago and checking out more of your guitars. That's a beauty you got in your hand. That's
Yeah, this OM-42. It's the crown jewel in the collection,
cool.
And it is my absolute favorite guitar. I always keep it in the case, but it's still the one I pick up the most. I'm willing to open the case to have the experience. So
You want to tell a little story about how that guitar found you?
yeah, because that's actually what happened. So this actually starts in 1980. The guitar is from 2000 roughly, or 99 or 2000, according to the serial number. But so in 1980, a friend of mine gives me a record called Qua by Jorma. And I was a strummy guitarist back then, right? I was good, I had every Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young song down, but my friend Joey had to finger pick up Helplessly Hoping. So, I had a Gibson Hummingbird, which was the nicest guitar I'd ever owned, because I went through a line of Harmony Sovereigns and, the sort of lower end Yamahas and things. And then I finally got this Gibson Hummingbird, which was like 3 paychecks for me back then. I was, so 1980. So yeah, so I'm 23 years old.
Okay.
And I play this record and I'm like, I got to learn to do this. I got to learn to fingerpick. I got to learn to do this. Like when I realized most of those songs were Jorma by himself with no overdubs, not 2 guitars, that was the mind blowing part for me. So anyway, a couple, I don't know how many years later, maybe 5 or 6 years later, living in Chicago, Jorma comes through town to the Old Town School of Folk Music, I'm pretty sure. And I have to see him, obviously, right? Because he's one of my guitar heroes. And I get tickets, go to the Old Town School, have great seats. So I'm sitting like right pretty much at the front of the stage. And Jorma comes out, and this is the guitar that he has, this OM-42 Sunburst from Martin. And I had seen OM-42s before, not Sunburst. I'd been a fan of watching David Romberg play. I used to see David Romberg a lot when I was a kid. And he had an OM-42 and he had a MJ, or whatever it's called, an M50 or whatever it was. And those are his 2 main guitars, and they both sounded incredible. So I was like, oh, someday. And then of course, when I'd go in the guitar shop and look at the price, it was like, no, never gonna happen. Right. So anyway, fast forward. And I released my first CD around 2000 after many years of debating whether I was going to do it with the CD or not. So I finally got the money up and I did the CD. And I played a Larrabee guitar through all of that CD that I had at the time. It was a very nice guitar. And there's a shop here in Evanston, Illinois, called Guitar Works on Main Street. And Terry, the owner, he's gone now, but he was the guy, right? So I would go in and they have a little room for the better guitars where you could close the door and play, right? So I go in this one time, right after I launched my first CD, and I've got some shows coming up behind it, and I'm just like, so I'm just in the mode, right? So I go in the guitar store, and this OM-42 is hanging on the wall, and I look at it, and it's a consignment used guitar, right? So Terry would take obviously better guitars at consignment. So I start talking to him, and it was close to $3,000 on the side. At the time, my late wife was an artist. That's who she was. So she didn't make a living. I had a job. I was making enough. We also had a baby, not a baby, daughter at that point who was
Mhm.
10 years old. And, so I didn't have any extra money really. Actually, some credit card debt and stuff like that. So I like put the guitar back on the wall and I leave and I go home and I tell this whole story to Anne. And she's like, well, you got to get that guitar. And I'm like, we can't. And she's like, well, we got to figure this out. I'm like, we can't afford it. So anyway, long story short, cobble together what we've got in credit and everything else. And it looks like I could spend about, at best, $2,200 or $2,300. So I'm $600 off the mark. So I go back to the store and I said to Terry, look, I know this is consignment, you only make a certain amount of this. Could the price be any lower? And Terry said, well, the way we work, we can just ask the guy what he'll take and we still earn a commission. I was like, okay. So Terry said, what can you afford? And I said something like $2,250. He goes, all right, I'll ask him. Comes back, like, got him on the phone, I guess, and said, can you do $2,400? And I was like, I can find $150. So here I was, like the most expensive thing in my house now was a Martin OM-42 Sunburst, exactly like Jorma played when I saw him. And, I would already taught myself to finger pick then, but then this really inspired me. Like I really started trying to, I'm a little rusty these days because I haven't played much, but, I started ragtime, country blues, sort of folk styles. And then the pianic style that, Paul Simon plays and stuff. And so I just started working inside the different styles and trying to figure them out, and then I read an article with Ry Cooder once, and he doesn't use any picks. He said, why use picks when you use your fingers? So then I just became literally a finger picker. So I don't do the sort of very highly syncopated finger pick style picking. I'm basically a more expressive. So I was so happy that I bought it that like within days of having it, I went to this event at Uncommon Ground, the original one in Lakeview. And it was a bunch of my friends, Nancy Walker and Larry Kleiman, who produced both my first two records, and John Hasbrook, who's an amazing guitarist here in Chicago, phenomenal guitarist. And then and Andrew Calhoun, legendary Chicago folk singer, was there. And Andrew had showed up and he didn't have a guitar. And he said, can I borrow somebody's guitar? And I was like a 5-year-old, like, Mom, I got a guitar, I got a guitar. And so Andrew takes the guitar and he goes on stage and he's fiddling with the tuning. And then he looks at me directly and he goes, you could have tuned it. And the problem was, it turns out it was hard to tune because it had a slight intonation problem. The guy who had owned it before me hadn't really, whatever he did, he didn't take care of it that well or whatever. And Terry, because it was on consignment, Terry didn't set it up. He sold it as is, right? So I had to take it back and get it, sort of just tuned up to a little better intonation.
So it was the Jorma concert that really inspired you to get this guitar. You want to tell us about the song you're about to perform for us?
Yeah, so I heard the Qua record, and Jorma does a couple Gary Davis tunes on there. Mm-hmm. And one is I Am the Light of This World. And the other one is I'll Be All Right Someday. And both of those songs, when I saw Jorma play them, sitting up front close, I realized, like in my mind, I think sometimes when you come from a rock and roll grown up background and stuff, and you see guys that are like shredders, like you think there's a lot of left hand activity going. And then you watch a guy like Jorma basically play the guitar like a piano. Mm-hmm. Where he's got, 4 and sometimes a thumb. So he's got 5 digits and 4 over here. He's got 9 digits going on, and so I sat and watched him and realized he's blocking a C chord and around a C chord and F chord on most of this song. And I was like, wait, that's insane. Like it's all the right hand. Mm-hmm. So this is like 5 years after I heard the record and I'm trying to learn the finger pick. And I watch him and I literally accelerate.
said, well, he come all the way down Lazarus' way to raise him from the dead. Just as long as I'm in this world, I am the light of this world. Just as long as I'm in this world, you know, I am the light of this world. I've been confirmed and God knows I ain't ashamed. Holy Ghost is my witness and the angels sing my name. Just as long as I'm in this world, I am the light of this world. Just as long as I'm in this world, I am the light of this world. If pride is the key to heaven, they done lock the door. That's why my God gave me the key. Carry it wherever I go. Just as long as I'm in this world, you know I am the light of this world. Just as long as I'm in this world, I am the light of this world. Shout out over the water, I won't be here long. My soul is anchored in Jesus and the world can't do me no harm. Just as long as I'm in this world, I am the light of this world. Just as long as I'm in this world, you know, I am the light of this world. I got fiery fingers and I got fiery hands. When I get up in heaven, gonna play in a fiery band. Just as long as I'm in this world, you know, I am the light of this world. Just as long as I'm in this world, I am the light of this world.
Hey, thanks for watching Charlie's Open Mic this week, and thank you to James Curley for sharing his story about his OM-42 and where that came from, and sharing a little music from the Reverend Gary Davis. He played it beautifully. As always, please hit that subscription link down below. Please ring the bell for notifications of upcoming episodes. Always comment down below. That helps to lift us in the algorithms. And please click like. That helps us also. You can always find us at charliesopenmic.com, where you can find a Patreon link to help support the show. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.